What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 5 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Gorbad Ironclaw Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we had a round of confederations as all the greenskin tribes of the Badlands have heard of Gorbad's successes and have been drawn to his great WAAAGH in preparation for his invasion of the Empire. We do still have a little bit of puttering around to do, but after we wipe out the Cornates, maybe kill a few Dowie on our way, we should be well on our way towards the Empire, at least with Gorbad's army. And then we now have plenty of other armies that are going and starting up that sort of variety with the different types of units and stuff, and that we're looking to do. Anyway, the first thing we got to do, I guess it's a new turn, so there's a lot of stuff to do. I think there's at least 3 battles to be had pretty much immediately, so we got to have those battles. Is this Cornate corruption? Yeah, it's high chaos corruption attrition. That's fine. Shouldn't be any kind of issue. Colonel Stare, I would have loved to have allied with you, but you really just didn't like us too much. If that hadn't been the case, I might have not attacked you, but we're gonna attack you. So declare war. Plus, I think it's kind of a win-win. The orcs should enjoy this. The Cornates should enjoy this. Everybody's gonna have a good time, eh? So you're gonna move into the lost title like so, and we're going to straight up attack them in a few seconds. You are going to reinforce, of course. Although I'm not actually so sure that we actually need Morglis anymore because we confederated a lord with a similar trait, but I guess we'll see. Other than that, since we reached the 5th episode, the engagement threshold for the longer episodes, hour adjacent episodes, is now, I believe it was 300 likes and something, 300 likes and 50 comments, something along those lines. Anyway, yeah, so do keep that in mind if you're enjoying the longer episodes. Otherwise, I believe we're ready to go. Let's give this standard of discipline to, I don't know, the one war wagon, I guess, prior to it dying, and let's see how we fare against an exalted bloodthirster. Go.
You fought, you stick to the plan, and you win. Questions? No questions. Whoa!
Alrighty, here we go. I've been excited to get some fights going against the Cornates, and, well, hopefully Colonel Stare here delivers. Now, is it a smart... I mean, we should wait for our WAAAGH and use them to, use them to help out here, but we're not going to do that, as in, we're at the very least going to annoy the enemy into moving towards us with spells and with artillery until they rush us. It's a bad idea in the sense that it will, Cornates rushing our units of tactical boys is probably not going to go so well for them, but at the same time, it'll keep the battle nice and interesting. Anyway, the bolt thrower continues to annoy them, but we're just trying to get the enemy close enough to close the distance with the tactical boys, who will begin pin cushioning those Cornates on the approach. Though, just out of curiosity here, 12 armor piercing damage. It's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. Anyway, looks like the first of the enemies are moving in. A few of the skull cannon shots land amongst our lines and amongst the enemy lines as well, which, only fair. Corn cares not from whence the blood flows. Here comes... whence the blood flows, rather. Here comes Colonel Stare, who's taking about half of his HP in damage as he floats on towards us. And it looks like he will manage to touch down just as the meatballs and the exalted bloodletters arrive. Unfortunately for Colonel Stare, he's still a very big old target, and even if he has landed, it doesn't mean that our tactical boys are going to stop firing away at him, bringing him down before he can achieve all that much. And especially considering that Gorbad was busy with the meatballs here. One is going after our Margle and our orc shaman. And these things do pretty solid 800 weapon strength damage in melee, so we do have to be careful. Anyway, the battle is joined. Our melee line is, if not quite on the verge of collapse, is in a fair bit of trouble here. We can see this unit of orc boys is down a half HP, and the other one is down to about 45%. The enemy does try to get around us with a bunch of flesh hounds, I think 4 over on the left flank and a similar number on the right, but fortunately, the boar boys are a pretty good sort of counter to that, holding the enemy back, and with a little bit of help from the spears against the flesh hounds, which are large units. I mean, they're dogs, which are normally small, but they are very large dogs, so yeah. Between them and the boar boys, it looks like the flesh hounds are going to find no purchase over on our left flank, but the enemy is still very much in the fight. Our WAAAGH has arrived, but 2 of our units of orc boys will flee the melee, the front line, and it looks like it's time for our tactical boys to get into the old melee. Big old foot of Gork will come down on a few of the bloodletters just as they give chase to our units of fleeing orc boys. Our unit of pump wagons, I believe, is also just about done for. And it looks like our front line, at least Gorbad's front line, is on the verge of collapse. Still shots coming in from the skull cannon, looking pretty good, especially in combination with that big old meatball. Though admittedly the meatball is just about done with 492 HP. If the Daka enthusiasts could just hit back, that would be just lovely. Alright, there we go. Looks like a few of the others are going to quarrel it down, and the meatball will fall. And bounce power has now shifted to about 90% in our favor, maybe 85% in our favor. There are still Forsaken and Bloodletters running towards us and or chasing down the fleeing units of orc boys, but with the reinforcing WAAAGH protecting our right flank, really it's only the meatballs that remain as the major threats. They do continue to cause those big old explosions around them as they lose their HP, so they're probably racking up a fairly considerable amount of damage and kills, but we just have the numbers at this point, and the arrows and the quarrels will eventually bring them all down. 500 HP and probably not much more on the other one. Down goes one meatball, and in a few seconds down will go the other. And there we go. With the fall of the Chaos Spawn, the bounce power shifts rapidly to about 95% in our favor. The Forsaken begin to rout, the Cultist begins to flee, and only the demonic units will remain on the field, and even them not for much longer, as they had largely been defeated. Alright, there we go. With that, the battle's ours. Margul got pretty badly beat up by one of the meatballs there. Bloodletters were fighting Gorbad, who was down to nearly half HP as well. I gotta say, Carnal Stare did a pretty good job here. Also, I do think that the Cornate skies do work nicely with Gorbad's red armor and our red color schemes, so can't complain about it too much. Alright, and I do believe with that the last of the enemy demonic units melt away and the battle is ours. Certainly took a lot of damage in our main army here, but certainly made it worth the fight. Alright, there we go. Nice 7,000 gold reward for that one, and it was a pretty good fight. Pyrrhic victory. Obviously, we didn't wait for our reinforcements to arrive, but that kept the battle darn fun. And I was, gotta say, pretty impressed with the meatballs, as they did a fair bit of damage. Granted, they are once again fighting our basic orc boys, rather than anything stronger, not even biggins, which we could very well afford, but, well, ish. Yeah, still. Just because I don't really like to use the Spawnicorns, simply because they are atrociously handled by the auto-resolve, which constantly tries to kill them off. Obviously, we got 30,000 damage on the Skull Cannons. Skull Cannons are insane, especially in SFO, and that one's hardly surprising. Probably could have sent a few Boar Boy units to destroy it, but at the end of the day, we still carried the day, and we're probably pretty okay here. Gorbad Slinker's got the most by the looks of it on the various units of the tactical boys, and wow, Barbarians by a massive margin over all the other boar units. Well done. Alrighty, and we're going to obviously occupy the place, much as I'd love to loot and occupy or whatever. We will keep the horde, and we will immediately start buffing up the raiding stashes. You are a what? A Black Orc barracks, eh? I guess we could keep it here. We will need capacities of various kinds. Swindler for Margle. No. This goes on Lords, not on Margle. Oh, Glittering Scales. Nice pickup, though. The Goblin armies will certainly need those. Bat-winged loonies. Ranked up in raiding camp stance. Minus 1% upkeep all units in army. Huh. I wonder, can Gorbad carry those, or is it a Goblin unique thing? Let's find out. No, you can't carry a Bat-winged loony. Alright. Grab that, then. And campaign movement range might not be too bad either, but then what do we lose? The Scarecrow banner? We might want to keep it since we're putting wyverns in his army. I'll think about it. I gotta remember to give the Bad Moon banner to our Night Gobbo army. Anyway, the Swamp Thing's up and running-ish. Again, money is the problem. You can unraid so that we don't have problems here. This does nothing for us. Yeah, just stay like that. They can't reach us here anyway. Alrighty, and the rest of that looks good. Don't collect the income here because our income is already enough problems as it is. A Blorg Radder, you're up next. You have two things to do. You need to chase down these guys as best you can. Okay, wait. Let's get you guys out of the incorrect stances. You'll be able to reach Jamothius, but you might not be able to reach this guy. I wonder if the best bet then is to move you right here, Mr. Blorg, and then have you reinforce the other two. We still have to go back up to Kassos, but you know, it is what it is. Resolve this. And then you can issue to a punishment for all provinces or a bit of money. It's not a lot of money. The upkeep reduction will save us a bit, but probably not a crazy amount. Then again, right now only one army needs to replenish, so I'm gonna say take the money. Alright, like so, and then another Swindler. Argor, you can hold on to that. Spell Shield, probably not for you. We'll give that to somebody else, somebody who can actually miscast, most likely. Rend, you are probably going to join Mr. Argor. You have what? You have Orky. Yeah, you definitely need to join Argor to get the expendable on those orc boys that are going to be the mainstay of that army. And then the Horrible Bigoget. I guess you... Okay, here's what we'll do. For now, you're gonna join Argot. Lunch troops. I wonder if you can get a little bit closer. Right there. Alrighty, and then I think we should have a third one running around, but I don't remember where she is. Okay, you're right here. Becca Backslider. You're gonna go down here. Bekla. Though Becca might have been better, but anyway. Muncha Edbutt and Azdrag One Finger. I mean, you're not going to leech, although... 1, 2, 3, well, yeah, I'll get rid of your Wa because it's kind of useless right now. Disband. You can at least do this. Like so. And, Razor Standard. Nah, we don't need to deal with it. At least not right now. Alright, and then you guys can... Hey, an Engineer's Knapsack. That'll help some of the ranged armies. We'll go into Ransom Captives again for an extra turn of that. And Snotling Scavengers again. Nice. Alrighty, and another Swindler for Huglug. No. We'll give that to a Lord again. And another Snotling Scavengers. Gotta go to a Lord, not to a big boss. Engineer's Knapsack, probably not for you. Sword of Anti-Heroes, actually pretty solid on Argor. We'll keep that on him, as I don't think we have a base magical damage. You are going to go into March Stance and land. Though I'm not so sure that you're necessary anymore. You guys are all going to go into raiding stance now, and we're going to move back towards Kassos, at least until we can get enough money in these armies to separate themselves, or separate each other. It's coming. Sooner or later. Anyway, Bekla Backslader is good. Glugzag and Luggandaluni. Okay, so I want you to do two things. Luggan, you're going to reinforce. Glugzag, you're going to kill Ben Becker. Okay, you're going to chase after and kill Ben Becker. Oh, that's gonna... okay, fine. Maybe we'll go this way then. Go this way. Since he's forced us this way anyway, why not? And I'll resolve it real quick. And we'll once again... oh! Huh? We didn't get a reward? Game. How dare you? Yeah, hold on to the potion of toughness. I'd like you to go into march stance and start moving towards Zvorak so that we can go to Lakoras again, but this time Luggandaluni, and I would like you to start marching towards Matorka, wherein we can recruit trolls and giants. We want 2 giants for this army, and we want some trolls for at least one of these armies. Possibly 2 of these armies, depending on how many trolls we can afford, and at what time. Grom, I would like you to move this way, and then I would like Snagla Grobspit to join you, like so. And just for fun, we're going to attack this caravan just because we can. Caravan. No, that didn't work. Which faction is this, by the way? Western provinces. Yeah, they're always going to hate us anyway. I don't think there's an issue with doing that. I guess Greece's Goldtooth won't like us declaring war on them, but it's not like they're going to be of any use to us. We'll just kill their caravans if we spot them. Alright, and we will fight this. This is our debut battle for the Spider Gob, as well as all of the Forest Gobs. Go. Alright, here we go. Oh, look at the tiny little goblin great shaman. No mount as yet, but close enough for a nice little vindictive glare into the first of the enemy units of Jade Warriors. Not a... well, actually, that did nothing. I guess in reality, they missed. Spider Gob is on field at last with his unique sort of silvery looking spider there. Looking pretty good. Too bad we can't have a whole army with this color scheme. It's I'd say it's a lot creepier than the sort of more colorful versions of the goblin or the spider riders rather. Oh, and I like the spider shield as well, and the spider mask. That's Spider Gob for you. Anyway, we've got a small caravan, so it shouldn't be too difficult of a fight. We're going to start the battle out by annoying the enemy unit of cavalry, the Jade Lancers, with our colorful Spider Riders. Alrighty, and they'll do their best to dish out decent damage. The enemy does have a shield and 110 armor, and these guys' armor piercing is relatively lackluster. It's 6 up from 3 due to the fact that we use scrap to upgrade them slightly, and I think it's very, very much needed here. Even relatively basic units of like Jade Warriors and Jade Lancers are otherwise going to be a lot of trouble for us. Admittedly, the Jade Warriors are a very good unit for their cost, but nonetheless should be somewhat concerned. Jade Lancers are pretty much done for. They're down to about half of the HP they started with, a third of their full HP, but Jade Lancers aren't a very good unit in the first place, so we're not super concerned about them anyway. And there ain't no way they're going to be able to chase down these Spider Riders, especially with the fact that they have a Strider and good luck. There we go. Without the Jade Lancers will rout just as some Forest Gobs arrive. Otherwise, the battle is about to be joined. We have set ourselves up basically all around the enemy. A couple of units of Forest Gobs ready to hit the enemy in the flanks. All 4 of our units of Spider Riders, the non-archer variant behind the enemy army, ready to smash into the enemy range lines. And in the meantime, I'm going to summon some Spiderlings with Spider Gob, and then send the Forest Gobos in. There we go. Goblin Big Boss will lead them. It's a little bit unfortunate that you have to use Goblin Big Bosses in order to buff the Forest Goblins, because they look really out of place. It's bizarre. But what can you do? Anyway, Forest Goblins versus Jade Lancers. Kind of interested in how it'll go. We do have the very, very lovely... oh, wait, no, this army doesn't have it yet. Oh, okay, well, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. And we're supposed to get that I don't remember the name of the tactic. The one that gives us melee damage reflection on spear units. I remember I accidentally went with the net 'em up plan, so yeah, we're just gonna have to live with it until that thing's off cooldown. Anyway, here comes some Spider Riders, the melee variant this time, smashing into the back line of enemy peasant archers. It looks like some of the enemy units of Jade Warriors do move on in, but a little bit too late, especially as the WAAAGH is active, and now the entire enemy army is engaged in combat. The bounce power rapidly shifts to about 90% in our favor. No unit likes being hit from every single direction, and even the Jade Warriors start rapidly to collapse. And I have been doing a decent bit of damage to this one unit of Forest Galbos here, who are down to about half of their HP and 3/4 of their unit numbers. But alas, I'd wager the enemy isn't in this fight for too much longer as the bounce power shifts to 99% in our favor, and just need to force this one last unit to rout. And perhaps a rear charge and a flanking attack from every single direction will force them to do so, giving the battle to us. Lovely, no problem. We took basically damage to only one unit, and otherwise, easy little debut for the Forest Gobs. Alright, there we go. That was some solid forest gobbing, if I do say so myself. The little guys did a great job, poisoned their way through the Cathayan caravan, and basically one unit got hurt, which is perfectly acceptable. We'll ransom the captives and keep on taking as much money as we can, every battle, every turn, until we are stable once more and can keep recruiting new units. Tactic unlocked, Splode to Begin. I believe that's a... I want to say, let me just see here. Not light 'em up, Splode to Begin. Is it here? This one. What does this do? Splode to Begin for Colossal Squigs. Ability. Causes lethal damage to self. Basically, you sacrifice a Colossal Squig for a massive amount of damage. Probably not something we'll use except one time just to see how big the explosion is, but otherwise it's a horrible waste of a elite and solid units. So yeah, we will try it out just because I'm interested, but yeah, anyway, what I also would like to do, let me just see here for a sec. You, oh wow, you're not healing as much as I thought you'd be. Let's get another point and replenish troops here, and let's get life leeching for the River Troll Hag. What I would like to see is this. You should have... You're one short. Okay, what we need then... Who's not hurt? Okay, we'll take the pump wagons because we don't really care what happens to them. They're just temporary in this army. Frankly, so is the artillery piece, but we need it for siege attacker for now. Then we need to give someone, anybody. Wait, you are not going to unequip Stick 'em Like Pigs. Oh, wait, do we have Stick 'em Like Pigs on you? Oh, we have Net Them Up, which we would want to replace with Stick 'em Like Pigs, but... that doesn't really help us right now. This gives you Light 'em Up, which doesn't help us. Damn, we need somebody. We could temporarily give you Regimental, but I don't like it going on cooldown right now. And again, the cooldown is one turn, so maybe it's not a big deal. Alright, fine. We'll temporarily give you Regimental. You're going to lose it, like, next turn anyway, because we're going to swap out what's happening there. But anyway, and the reason I wanted that was to recruit 2 more... Oh, I need to transfer another unit. Take this unhurt unit of Orc Boys. Alrighty, and then you are going to grab 2 more units of Tactical Boys, which will max out the number of Tactical Boys in this army, and you 2 Orc Boys are going to become Boar Boys now. A little bit more expensive, but there we go. Now we have 6 Boar Boys, 7 Tactical Boys, and we'll just need some Wyverns and a Black Orc Big Boss. Oh, funnily enough, we can build one here if we wanted to. We could get a Bruiser, low speed, high armor. I wonder what their natural speed is with the cavalry. Glorious charge on you. I wonder if there's anything on these guys that would actually buff anybody other than themselves. Maybe we'll wait. Although I did want another one of these, but right now, I mean, they're expensive to recruit, but they're not expensive to upkeep, and we have another one here somewhere, don't we? Yeah, we have an ambitious one. Now, we have another one here, and ooh, wait a second. So, Mr. Argor Throat Cruncher, not Gorbad's boys, you are going to go for the Black Battalion to massively increase the power of the orc infantry. It only works on the stabby, the cleaver, choppa orc boys, rather than the spears, and that's why we're going to send you the 2 black orcs. This means you'll keep this orky one, and then you'll need another one of any kind that will work with you, whichever kind that may be. And it might be a decent idea to recruit one right now if there's a close place somewhere that can actually recruit them. I think the closest might actually be the tower here. Wait, no, the floating tower? Am I crazy? Oh, it's right here. Flying fortress, floating tower, whatever. Charge bonus plus 50% doesn't really help. Maybe with the orc boys, the 20% speed won't be too bad on you. You'll hit a lot harder. Enabled if a lord has been routed or killed. Affected units, I mean, maybe extra leadership might not be too bad either. Alright, fine, we'll go for Bruiser. Although, funnily enough, we already have a Bruiser over here, we can just transfer him. Yeah, maybe we'll just transfer him over then. That's fine. Alrighty, we'll do that. What else do we have here available to us in terms of this turn and moving around? WAAAGH, you have to stay where you are. I'd love for you to raid, but you're a little bit far from anybody, so can't do that right now. It's too risky. Grom, you can raid. You can no longer... you're no longer in range of Berkvar, right? I was actually going to besiege it with Spiked Backbiter. I want to see those black orcs in action. We won't be able to take Doc Karaz if we do that, then. I wonder if these guys would be willing to sally out or not. I guess we're about to find out. Despite Backbiter, you are going to declare war on Berkvar. Wait, we're going to ask
Before the High King.
whoever's richer. Clan Naw, 155. Clan Mordkin, 142. So you're a little bit richer. Karazakarak, you will give us some whatever. Alright. Like so. Then... we'll have Spite Backbiter besiege the place. Oh, right, I was doing the... I was going to give somebody a... oh, wait, I did the plan thing. You are going to build up like so. If we only attack with you, just the one army, I'm willing to bet that they will indeed sally out. The Night Goblins are still going to have a little bit of a tough time with all those dwarf warriors, but it probably would make for a good fight, and I am a sucker for a good fight. You Gouger. You're not able to reach this place. I was hoping that you could reinforce and allow Bartorg to attack, unless you can march stance that way. No, you can't do it either. Alright, what you can then do is go... oh, yeah, it's become pointless to raid. So you're gonna go here. You're gonna stay raiding. You're going to raid. Alright, here together with these guys, and then we'll see how they react to all this. Alrighty. The raiding isn't giving us any bonus money, but it would still be giving us reductions in the army cost, or, oh, does it not do that for orcs? Well, either way. I believe that's all that we gotta do, minus moving Giblet, and Giblet is supposed to join Grom. So go on the way to Grom. And then obviously Snagla is going to be transferred to the full Spider army. Oh, actually, that reminds me, somebody in the comments said that apparently well, I guess we could do it next turn, the Regiment of Renown. Where is it? The Regiment of Renown of Snagla's Death Thrower is in fact a Forest Goblin artillery, so why not? We could put it in the Forest Goblin army, especially since this is sort of a all types of Forest Goblin army rather than just fighter spam army. A little bit different in that way. Anyway, let us do a little bit of upgrading, especially the stuff that will give us money next turn, or additional money, or maybe not next turn, but as soon as we can get it. Hanging Rock. I guess? That's a question. We do want the gut towers everywhere. Wait, no, we don't. We want the Gobbo towns everywhere. What am I talking about? Is that better in the early game than getting another... pile of shiny stuff, though. That I'm not so sure about. You know, let's start with the pile of shiny stuff. It's cheaper, and it'll be an immediate benefit. Kipris, I'd love to upgrade you, but I don't think we can afford to do so right now. We can, however, afford the raiding hideout here, and another Dahorde here. So that one's fine. We will probably keep the mushroom distillery because we're gonna need so much goblin big boss capacity that I just gotta deal with it. Heldegrad, how much would it cost to upgrade these towers? It's not that expensive. Let's at least upgrade the Gobbo town. We can ignore the other one because it is less beneficial. These places are the ones most likely to get attacked, which is why we're going to keep the military structures for now, even though they do have to be replaced, especially one of these here in Wissenheim. Although I suppose Wissenheim is behind Borovska, so we could get rid of one of them. Fine, and get rid of... I'll get rid of this building. Alrighty. Kavargar Forest. You need to upgrade the boss's shack. That hasn't changed. You need the public order, especially since we're losing public order. Aldium, you're actually pretty okay in public order, so you can collect income now and build up or upgrade that boss's shack as well as that raiden hideout. We'll keep the troll cave because we might... Oh, I was about to say we might need another river troll hag hut, but we don't actually. What's the likelihood you get attacked? You are right beside Belagar. You know what, let's keep it for now, just in case. I'd rather not lose the place for, you know, a couple of turns of extra stuff. Broken Tooth Camp, do you still need the stakes here? I mean, we'll keep it until these guys are dead. We will, however, start collecting the income and build the boss's shack, which... yeah, there we go. Our income's not quite fixed, but it's well on the way, let's say. Thessos, I suppose we can start upgrading you. And I think we can't afford to upgrade anything else, so we'll just leave Barag Dawasbag as it is. Actually, I lied. Let's build the ratings there. Nah, you know, I don't trust it. Unassign skill points, etc., etc., etc. Let's end the turn, and let's presumably get attacked by Mr. Gilbert Granite Hand. Oh, I could have actually put you into this army to do some stuff. Also, can you get any use out of anything here? Light 'em up will give us flaming attacks for the Night Goblin Archers, which does not help us at all here. And no, you can't do any plans. Alright, I guess you're going in planless, sir. What are you, by the way? You're the stabbiest. Any kind of magics we could give you to help out these? Well, most of this stuff is going to fighty lords. We could put a Helm of Discord in here. Or maybe even two. Helm of Discord for you. And I guess we could give you glittering scales then. Provide a little bit of support. Eventually you're going to be up probably on an Arachnarok Spider Shrine. Or Catchweb Spider Shrine. But we'll see if that remains the case. Let's double check Diplo because we haven't done so. Clan Fester wants a defensive alliance. I don't think we care. Broken Nose, I'd love to confederate you, but I think we've done a little bit much. Funnily enough, these guys are now willing to peace out. Give us a lot of money. They're even willing to go into defensive alliance, eh? Oh man, I mean, we fought them, and... You know what, maybe we'll do that next turn without killing them. Yeah, we'd lose the Pillar of Bone, but maybe that'll make them like us enough to... I wonder how they feel about the Skaven, though. A moment. I just want to see something. If we take a look at Clan, I don't know, Treacherik, for example... How do they feel about them? They just don't like the treaties with Ironclaw Works, which is us. So if we ally with them and then trade them back their one territory, it might not be the worst thing. Huh. Alright, you know what? Cancel these raiding stashes. Build the Goblin Camp. I still like the idea of some of the stuff that the Cornates are willing to offer us, so this could kind of solve the problem. End the turn. Alright, there we go, and unsurprisingly, Gilbert Granite Hand will indeed sally out. Gonna have to deal with all those dwarf warriors and see how our two black orcs and our giant pile of night gobs stack up. We've done the forest gobs, let's see how the night gobs do. Go. Alrighty, here we go. The Night Goblins will debut after the Forest Goblins, but the Night Goblins will be joined by 2 units of Black Orcs, our first couple of units. And you got to love these guys with their ultra thick armor, and just the way they look is absolutely fantastic. Pretty solid with our color scheme as well. The red makes their, well, the black armor rather, makes the red of our color scheme really pop. Now, this is going to be a very dangerous battle. That's a lot of early game dwarfs, and without buffs, without scrap upgrades, without all the stuff that the Night Goblins need, they're going to have a very difficult time in defeating a unit of dwarf warriors in melee. Poison or no poison, we have very little in the way of armor piercing, only 6, and all dwarf units are heavily armored, with 80 being the, I guess, the lowest armor. I guess the artillery crews have 60 armor. Yeah, it's going to be a toughie. We'll see. Now, the way that we're going to approach this is thus. We are going to approach the enemy on the flank with our 2 units of Black Orcs by themselves. They're hidden in the forest, but the main reason they're approaching this way is that the Night Goblin army is completely hidden, whereas the Black Orcs are not. We really couldn't have the enemy grudge thrower chucking those boulders at our Black Orcs as they approached, because we're really going to need them here. And there we go, the Black Orcs have started distracting the enemy, and by distracting I mean, you know, big ol' axe to the face, which is pretty distracting, you gotta admit. And though it does look like the other unit of Black Orcs is going to take a few blasting charges before they manage to close the distance with some of the enemy miners. The rest of our army is getting ready to move on in as well, as the Black Orcs continue to distract, with our Night Goblin fanatics heading directly at the enemy sort of main line. Especially now that the enemy has at least slightly responded to the Black Orcs and has shifted their formation. Unfortunately, we do take a couple of volleys of blasting charges to our Night Goblins from the enemy miners, and that does mean pretty darn heavy damage to those units. But what can you do? On the bright side, enough melee units have closed such that the WAAAGH is now active, and the big old line will have our units of Night Goblin fanatics keep on fighting until they're ready to activate those spinning loons. Alright, and at the same time, we've got our pump wagons trying to help the main line out. Well, without the pump wagons, they're definitely not going to win just straight up in melee, and a few of them will rout, but that is hardly surprising. That's not decisive for the enemy, however. A few of them may be 3 of them, in fact, already may be routing and running, but the enemies lost a unit of Quarrelers on the flank due to the Quarrelers being charged in the back by Squig Herd. The artillery piece has been destroyed by another unit of Squigs, and now we've got a few of the non-fanatic units of Night Gobbos moving in to help the Squigs surround the enemy and start nipping away at the enemy's flanks. Flanks tend to be the most dangerous portion of a sort of a front line like this, especially when it's a nice big ol' battle line. And we're looking to collapse the enemy's right flank, while the enemy's left flank is still being held back by those 2 Black Orcs. One of them is at, let's see, they've taken a little bit of damage. You're at 61 kills and have lost 14 units. The other one has lost 5 and 56 kills. Obviously, Black Orcs versus Miners is a tremendously bad matchup, and the Black Orcs will tear those poor Miners to shreds. We do absolutely need them to do so, however, as these are blasting charges miners, and we can't have them killing off GOBS like a half of a unit with a single volley. I feel like I started using miners with blasting charges a lot more in my Thorgrim campaign than I've ever done before when playing dwarfs, just like a lot, and yeah, I gotta say, not to be underestimated, especially for their cost. Especially against low armor units. Anyway, the bounce power is in our favor at about maybe 60%, maybe 55%. Lots of skirmishes still going, and what we're now doing is making sure that individual units are out by repeatedly charging them from multiple sides, and as soon as that unit routs, we send the most hurt units to chase them down, while our slightly less hurt units continue to fight. It's going to be a long time to bring down Longbeards, however, as they have heavy armor, heavy melee defense, and we have no easy way of dealing with them. but it's just a matter of time, at least I hope. Alright, Squiggy's still trying to help out. This one's been forced into rampage, however, as they charge the enemy Corralers, Miners, and Dwarf Warriors, who are currently in a blob. Another unit of our Night Goblins will break. But that's alright. Pretty much all the Night Goblins have broken at this point and have returned, which is perfectly fine. The Black Orcs have cleared out, what, 3 units or so, or at least have them fleeing. And even if our Night Goblins are in and out, our units of Black Orcs are perfectly fine and are still ready to go and keep fighting for quite a while. Alright, looks like the Squig unit is done rampaging now. Really gonna just back it off so that the enemy can't hurt it. We do need it to be able to chase enemies down and to be able to quickly reposition and rear charge any enemies that are still fighting. Night Gobs are surrounded and are trying to book it on out of there. Looks like this unit of Longbeards and this unit of Longbeards are still in the fight, though this one might be near to defeat, especially as the unit of Night Goblins attacking it has nearly torn it to shreds. I'm gonna help them a little bit with the sneaky stab and buff, a little bit of extra armor piercing damage, a little bit of extra melee attack. And get through that armor of those Longbeards. And now they were routing, or at least they were shaken, but they're back into it. Alright, fair enough. That's fighting dwarfs for you. On the bright side, it looks like our Black Orcs have made it out of the woods, having killed all the units there. Our pump wagons have arrived to help and make sure that the units that were running away from them don't escape. And now we can start approaching those Longbeards. If the Squigs and the Night Goblins don't manage to surround them, the Black Orcs will be there to bail the rest of the Goblins out. And we gotta make good use of the Black Orcs in this army while we have them. They're not going to stick around here. This is a Night Goblin army. And yes, we will be using some armies that will be combining various Orky and Goblin-y units, but I'd like the themed armies on field first. Alright, how are we doing out here? Corralers are done for, and ooh, it looks like the Longbeards will in fact shatter, and that was the last unit that was holding on. The battle is ours. One last set of spinning loons will work their way through those running dowie, but the battle is ours. Very nice. Certainly something of a close call. We can see how many of our units of Night Goblins are either routing or these guys have clearly rallied. And every single one of them is super heavily damaged, except I guess this one, which I think was looping around the enemy army like this and only hitting them in the back. Could have probably used some nasty skulkers here to tear through those through that dwarfen army, but well, again, it's a Night Goblin force, so they're just going to have to make do. Alright, there we go. Beautiful work by the Night Goblins in their debut battle. Unfortunately, one unit did survive, so we don't get to immediately capture the place, but nonetheless, it was solid work and a very solid fight. We get to see the Black Orcs hold the line and stay relatively unharmed compared to the Night Goblins. Night Goblins did break and run from pretty much every fight, but then they were right back into it. A little bit later, with a few more spinning loons to send the enemy way. Besides, this one was at 21k damage, this one was at 34k damage, and actually matched the 2 units of Black Orcs, so certainly not to be underestimated there. The Night Goblin Archers Fanatics admittedly didn't do too much because the enemy was too heavily armored for their type of arrows. Squigs and Pump Wagons were both obviously useful. Hardly surprising. We're gonna keep on taking the money, as we've been doing. Gotta get our econ back up and running. Alright, I forgot the peace out thing when this guy still wants to peace out, eh? And I guess if we take his money now, he might have more money available for us later. It's a possibility, at least. Won't go straight into defensive alliance unless we give him 100 less money. Oh, wait, but then that'll cancel... Actually, no, it won't cancel anything. We won't be trading this turn anyway, so yeah, fine. I still like the idea of potentially getting some Cornate units. I'm just gonna hope that he doesn't hate us, and if he does, we'll come back and kill him. How about that?
The Skull Taker accepts.
Alright, man-eaters and pay swords have confederated enemy killed in battle. Giant wolf, and ready for duty. Technology research, so pump wagon power up. Tactics removed from Gorbad, but that's alright, at least for now. And next we're gonna go through pointy tusks into fatta pigs, since we got a fair few of those boar boys up and running now. And we will have a even more boar boy heavy army eventually as well, so, and got to keep that in mind. Now, we do want to go to our own territory rather than the Chaos territory. I would imagine that even with us allied... Well, then again, we should just probably pass through it, eh? Fine, and go to the edge of our own territory like so. We'll heal a little bit less, but not so much less that we need to be concerned about it. And you can do the same thing right there. We will trade the Lost Idol back to these guys for decent amounts of cash as well as reputation, but I guess we should do it next turn, because then we can heal more. Hopefully they don't waste all their money. But yeah, I do think there's a fair few units of Cornate, well, there's a fair few Cornate units that are very nice. And yeah, I know they have that Pillar of Bone, which is also nice. Research rate, hero recruit rank, and a little bit of money, but I feel like the Cornate units will eventually be more worthwhile. The Blood Shrines, in particular, to act as a support unit. I don't really care about the spawn. Blood Beasts could potentially be okay. Wrathmongers and Black Orcs also sound like a match made in heaven, so that might be nice. And maybe even Chaos War Shrines of Khorne. We don't have support units after all. We won't have access to Cathayan drums in this particular campaign. So you gotta think about that as well. Anyway, you go down here. And that's where you were going, and you will continue going that way. Alright, let's start from the top again. Blorg Radder. Now, you will have to go to Myrmidons, but for now we'll push... Whoa, what the heck? I have another army here. I didn't realize that. Well, that's not great. Okay, you need to move to Matorka. That hasn't changed. I guess then... Oh, this guy's in a really annoying position, because... He could either go to Zvorak from here, or he could go to Thessos, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it. That's real interesting. And these guys wouldn't be able to reinforce either. Well, I guess that hasn't changed. Start moving up this way so that we can sort of deal with that situation, at least to whatever degree we can deal with it. Everybody keep a rating. At least all the units and everybody here is getting XP from the rating, if nothing else. Alrighty, and then, okay, wait. You, John River Troll Hag, yeah, you have the Great Crappa, which I was gonna say send to the other army, so you're gonna leave this army now. And then you're gonna get into this army. Like so. Hopefully you don't get in each other's way. No, we're good. I would prefer not to sacrifice Zvorak. Admittedly, it also does have defenders, which... we also don't know whether he can reach the place in one go from here or not. If we go into ambush stance, just out of curiosity... no dice, Alright, go right to the edge of Thessos in march stance? Might prompt this guy to attempt to move towards us, though goblins in march stance might be a bad idea. But on the other hand, we do have a wall with us. You know what, I'm gonna risk it. Maybe the AI would be willing to do this because we have a wall, or because we're in march stance. Great swords should be, in theory, very much stronger than anything we've got, so who knows. Well, let's give him the opportunity, and then hopefully that will prevent him from going to Zvorak, which would be unfortunate if he did. Anyway, Grom, you should now be able to take over... Wait. No, Spite Backbiter, you should be able to take Barak Var now. You don't have any room, do you? You do not. Oh, this guy's running away. A little coward. What was I gonna say? You can just auto-resolve. Because I think you can jump here to help these guys out. Yeah, let's Oh, right. Now, this is a port, so he's going to get out of there, I think. Hello? Huh? Oh, it canceled it. It canceled the attack, okay. And we have no siege attacker here, do we? We have siege attacker on these trolls, but I was going to send you to... Alright. Break siege and try not to move super far, guys. Stop. I couldn't click him. If we take Mr. Gouger and we put him to Barrack Var, with that siege attacker, he should be able to insta-take it. And then you can besiege Doc Karaz. Like so. We'll just auto-resolve. This is not worth fighting. We'll put you right here. And we'll put you right there. Then somebody has to get. Which one were you again? You were the skin. Alright, you were supposed to join either one of these armies, weren't you? Wait, no. You are already a skinner. Oh, right. Your guy actually is supposed to join one of these two armies. Neither one of which currently has room, so we're going to have to either lose a forest gob or lose a night gob. Technically, the black orcs are going to a different army, so we could, in theory, take them out. Although, actually, you know what? Lose a gob. I just realized that if we're going to get that spider launcher. I mean, we are going to get a spider flinger thingy, but you can go in here for now. We still need extra space. We have a few too many of the regular forest gobs. Anyway, now, unless I'm mistaken, we have both Skinna and Wiggla here, and we need to do the same thing here. We already have a Wiggla, and then the Skinna is in this army. All right, good. You're gonna auto-resolve now that we have that troll to help out, and get by. Lovely. And we are going to delete the goblin toolbox. We will... we can upgrade the greenskin dogs, why not? Does this mean we can upgrade Barrack Dawa's bag? I don't think anybody's nearby, so maybe we can do that. We'll obviously need the boss's tent. Swindler for Gouger? I don't think so. At least not for you. At least not right now. Something scavengers for Blorg? I don't know if that should go in a goblin big boss. In fact, I do know, and it shouldn't. You are going to go for those Raiden stashes. Lovely. And then you guys are just going to auto-resolve this garbage. At least until we run into Thorgrim and get a proper fight going. Alright, Scepter of... Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that because that really hurt our units. 1500 for this? Okay. Scepter of Stability, sure. We'll hopefully turn that into something a teensy bit more useful. Another Swindler for Snagla. No, that has to go on Lords, I'm pretty sure. And Ublug, you are also not a Lord. Scepter of Stability, we will... Let's see. Power Stone is actually not horrible, but it's only a single use, so pretty much anything like a Trickster Shard will be better, so we can just get rid of it. Potion of Toughness is fine. Potion of Farsight I don't really care for because it's only 36 seconds and it's a single use, so we'll probably transform it into something a little bit more useful, but not right now. Keep the Shield of Talos, at least for now. Though eventually we'll probably turn it into something more useful as well. Anyway, you can go to Camp Ruckus, and then next turn the Confederation debuff will be gone, so we should be able to start collecting income in a couple of the other provinces again, which will be nice. You can cancel your raiding, however, and... You're keeping the gobos. I haven't decided whether we want these orc shamans or this goblin shaman and this orc shaman. It depends on whether we can get a better orc and goblin shaman. Especially the Night Goblin Shaman, as there should be one with every Night Goblin army. We have Blessed by More cooldown, reduction to little wasp spells. I mean, it's better than nothing. The one that we currently have there is essentially useless. It's like a public order and stuff guy, which, you know, would be decent if we had space, but we don't have space for any non-combatant type units. Great. I was just looking for where closer we can get the shamans. I guess this is the closest, eh? Right, no, Flying Fortress. It's again Flying Fortress. Always with the Flying Fortress. Blessed by More, what do we have here? Big Stick, when's the power reserve? I mean, I don't dislike the targeting range for spells, I will admit. Maybe Big Stick is a decent choice. These guys are going to need them, so let's go for big stick for you. And I do want another gob shaman. It's just I'm not so sure that... well, it's better than the trait that we currently have. That I will admit. I'm also 90% sure we had another shaman building somewhere else. Yeah, hopefully this isn't the only place. Ah, we have one here. In... Where did I click? In Aldium. Oh, it's right beside this place. Well, well, well. That's just fine then. Shaman. I mean, I guess we could pick the Blessed by Mork one. You do still have Sneaky Stabbing and the... Let's see. You do have Itchy Nuisance. And Itchy Nuisance is pretty solid in any Gobbo armies. I'm just wondering whether these guys might actually roll a trait that would be useful to us, but I don't know whether they can. Oh, wow, that basically used up all our money. Heroes are expensive to recruit, so we can't recruit anymore, can we? At least not right now. Alright, fair enough. Bartork Backbiter, you're gonna stay with these guys minus... I mean, keep the Orc Shaman leveling. This guy, you know what, we actually need to control for now, so we won't get rid of you this turn. And I believe that's pretty much it. Scout, you're gonna look for Grimgor, see what's going on over there. And I'd also like to see or spot any of the armies belonging to Karazgrek if they're heading towards us. I also see these guys have rebuilt, so we're gonna be sending the Forest Gobs their way rather soon. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about our cash flow. See if we can't get any more... We're not confederating. Alright, you know what? Just in case, we're probably thus not going to heal up as much, but we'll do this. Trade settlement. The lost title. Give us your money. There you go, enjoy. Alright, and then moving up to -4 over time, and then hopefully that'll fix itself, or otherwise we'll just kill him. And your healing is... Oh, it's actually fine, if not better, because I guess they can make better use of this terrain than we can. Alright, well, hopefully they give us the units that we want. Or an excuse to play around with some Cornate units. There we go. Now we should have sufficient money to end the turn without causing too many problems for us. Oh, wait. Mr. Gorbad, you still have Regimental. You lost... Power of Dewa and Gorbad's boys, eh? Although, frankly, Gorbad's boys is no longer really that useful to us because it seems to not apply... Wait, actually, I wanted to check. So... I never got to see, or did I, whether it applies to the Biggins or not. I think that it doesn't. As in the passive. Because it's a nice passive, but it's not worth having regular Biggins or regular Boar Boys over Boar Boy Biggins. You know what I mean? I know what I mean. Anyway, let's skip the outpost for now, at least, assuming, because, you know, they might get angry at us. And let's end the turn. Wait, are we raiding our own territory here? No. And you might get attacked. Hopefully they don't go for Zvorak. We're still losing a fair bit of cash. I'm almost tempted to delete these guys, but they're high rank, and it bothers me to get rid of a high-ranking unit that we've had for a while, you know? Just looking for stuff that we could potentially delete. I really just genuinely don't care for the boar chariots, but I mean, we can have a couple of them. The wolves are fine. The super squig will have one use. We have a lot of extra night gobs here, which we might not need, though. I mean, then again, we'll need more night gobs to replace some of the stuff that's going to be transferred. Ah, fine, just end turn. Alright, let's see what that Imperial army did. Gorma, Goblin Shaman ready for duty. You've arrived in Matorka, which is great. You can recruit at some point, possibly. And... did you cross the river? What did you do here? Ready for duty. Tactic removed from Grom. It's unfortunate for Grom. And, huh, why'd you start suffering attrition? Oh, you will start suffering attrition if we don't fight. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We expect that. War Boar for Krugga. I believe that's a Black Orc Big Boss. Gouge it to lost his tactic. You still have Stick 'em Like Pigs, which is the important one. Nemesis Crown claimed. And I assume that there are no other tactics that you have available to you. Oh, we should fight this, though. I'm just going to assume that they'll actually fight since they stayed here. +5 melee defense. Ugh, those great swords. They're going to be a toughie. Let's see what we can do. And they will run. You disgusting little coward. How dare you? Right, well, at least he didn't go for Zvorak. Go around, kill him. Alright, Pyrrhic victory, but we do have the WAAAGH to add to those piles of crossbows, and once again choke the rivers with our dead, or, you know, make them run out of ammunition. We do have the piles of pump wagons in here as well. I think we'll be fine. Go.
Mork talks through me!
Alrighty, here we go. We've got a fairly decent army arrayed against us, even if they did decide to run away. They've got a bunch of halberdiers and greatswords as their main line. No more regular swordsmen or spearmen from this faction, I guess, since they've teched up a little bit. And then this big old pile of enemy, I was going to say quarrelers, crossbows. We're actually very lucky that they're not quarrelers. If they were quarrelers, we wouldn't be, we wouldn't be likely to kill them off easily with pump wagons, but crossbows are going to be very much in danger of getting ripped apart by those funny little contraptions. Anyway, we're going to start the battle out by annoying the enemy army with many a rock being lobbed at the enemy's ranks, specifically trying their best to target the greatswords, as they are the biggest threat on the field by far. Admittedly, the halberdiers are also a threat to the pump wagons, but, you know, the pump wagons don't necessarily have to actually fight them in melee, especially as our WAAAGH has arrived and we can just send this big old pile of units at them, absorb plenty of quarrels, or bolts, and then only send in the rest of our army after. Anyway, enemy is moving on in. Our orc mobs are looking surprisingly orderly here, but that is at least appropriate when it's Gorbad in charge. Alright, and here we go. The WAAAGH will move in first, just to once again distract the enemy, absorb their charges, absorb their range fire, and open up something of a hole in the enemy's battle line. The pump wagons aren't here to fight halberdiers or the enemy greatswords, and are just going to pump their way through the line and head towards the enemy's rear. Looks like that's all, folks, as the 5-6 units of crossbows are gonna start getting charged by the pump wagons. And there we go. Said crossbows obviously have no chance in melee here, and this also means that they are obviously not firing. And it's also a pretty big old pile of units that the enemy essentially has disabled right now. Granted, this also does mean that our pump wagons aren't helping the main line in terms of fighting against the greatswords and the halberdiers, but that's alright. Especially with the WAAAGH distracting them. We don't need to worry about the regular line getting too heavily damaged. Anyway, the bounce power has shifted to about 70% in our favor. Of course, some of the halberds and the greatswords will do pretty good work and kill off a bunch of our WAAAGH units, but we hardly care. And even then, their effectiveness will be reduced as we keep using Itchy Nuisance on the biggest concentration of enemy troops and reduce their melee attack to pretty darn low. Oh, it ended just as yeah, okay. I do like I've always loved watching halberdiers. Gonna get a lot of use out of these guys when we play Empire. Also look really nice standing on top of the hill defending themselves against the orcs here. Greatswords holding the line as well. Though I'm not sure I'm big on this particular faction's color scheme. I think the pink doesn't work so well with the red and the yellow here. Red and yellow, or red and gold, I guess, on the greatswords. Do the halberdiers have any gold on them? No, that's just the greatsword's armor. Okay, so the halberdiers look fine with the red and the pink, but the greatswords look, it makes it look very garish. The pink and the gold and the red together are kind of clashing. It's not doing it for me, is what I'm getting at. Not that it's going to be a big concern, because they'll all be red bloody spots on the ground shortly. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor. Our pump wagons have obliterated the entire enemy's range line, and it's only a matter of time as the last of the enemy greatswords and halberdiers get overrun by the sheer numbers. And of course our artillery have been firing this entire time, rocks smacking into those units. Granted, we don't have particularly strong artillery, especially compared to most other factions. Or at the very least until we get Doom Divers, which are pretty solid. And there we go. With that, the enemy army will shatter just as we activate 1/3 and final WAAAGH, and the battle is ours. Well done to WAAAGH and this little GOB army. It's been doing a pretty good job. And this is the regular GOB army, so now we've had regular, knight, and forest GOBs all in one episode. I love it. Alright, there we go. No problem at all with the units from the WAAAGH there to act as meat shields for the GOBS. Well, we just overran them, especially with those pump wagons, which barreled through the enemy's meager melee line and just obliterated those poor crossbows in the back. 2.5k, about 5,000 gold for the battle. Pretty solid. Alright, and we got another spell shield. Man, we have so many spell shields now. I keep forgetting that you have a WAAAGH begins stance, but it does take some of our movement away. Anyway, I guess we're going back this way towards Zvorak again, just in case. At least sack Lycoros, which is in the process of rebuilding, so good for Lycoros. Anyway, it's a new turn, a new day. Where are we going? So, Gorbad. This is still attrition-y because there's still a lot of chaos corruption nearby. Alright, fair enough. Let's get you here, and let's get you here.
Respect, Cornates.
And we'll keep an eye on this guy. Anyway, that's Gorbad. Gonna take a while to move out. Maybe I should just delete the WAAAGH, considering that he's taking a long time to get here. Also, how many territories do you hold? Belagar still 5, so even if we were to take Grimpeak through Valea's Sorrow and Hordebane Forest on the sort of way to Black Crag, we would still leave at least a couple of territories around, and I would prefer not to go all the way to 8 Peaks right now, although it depends on who's here. If Skarsnik holds a lot of it, maybe we could just really quickly wipe him out. I mean, we're right there after all. Alright, fine. Plus, it's I suppose it's an opportunity to confederate Skarsnik. We might even gift him what remains of 8 Peaks and hoping that it makes him very happy. Anyway, the Stinky Leg Beta, you're going over to WAAAGH. You, I guess all of you together. Blorg, go to Kassos. We'll grab this, and then we'll loop back around towards Myrmidons, and then either sail out toward whatever we choose to do. Alrighty, and I'd love to build up these guys' armies, but we still can't do it until we are a little bit more economically stable, which we just ain't the case right now. And yes, it's partly in terms of me having gone a little bit overboard, but, well, whatever. Auto-resolve, and occupy. Minus 9,000. Alright, Swindler for Bekla. Okay, stop giving those to heroes when they don't work on heroes. At least every lord's gonna get a Swindler now, and then the river is ours. We're gonna go into Camp Ruckus, and we'll immediately start collecting the income. Delete the Fightin' Pit as well. This place will probably be generating decent amounts of money because it has 3 ports. And while we can technically afford the Greenskin burrows, they might be a little bit much right now. Lugden, I'd love for you to recruit, but you can't do it because you can't afford anything. Grom. Alrighty, so you're more or less complete army-wise. The Snagla's gonna get replaced eventually. I think you're just free to move, so go into march stance, start heading towards Barrack Dawa's bag, and then loop north towards these guys. You at least don't need to swap any units around. And oh, I had to double check. Yeah, you're a Goblin Great Shaman, so you're the appropriate lord to be leading these guys. You are a Night Goblin War Boss with the Cleverest, eh? So you would work decently well with a sort of Gobbo army. You are the Stabbiest, which is decent. It makes the Night Goblins get 75%. It gives them a gold shield, effectively. Can the Night Goblins get padded shields out of curiosity? Because if they can't, And they get thicker robes and more damage. That's the fanatics, yeah? Okay, so that's a kind of a problem. Alright, well, either way, you need to join the Night Goblin army because you are the skinner, so let's get you here. And once again, you provide the 360-degree thing, yeah? Yeah, but the Night Goblins get pretty significantly buffed by the better Night Sneak, and so we still gotta give it to you, sir. Alright, Bartorg, I guess you're gonna get the cleverest. Let us swap all the units around. You can hold on to... Oh, you're missing a Night Goblin, Big Boss. You can hold on to this Night Goblin Shaman, I guess. For now. At least until you find a better one. Wait. This is the Night Goblin Shaman. Then actually we'll get rid of him. Okay, you go here. We'll get rid of this Night Goblin Shaman eventually. In fact, the bonus control actually not necessary here. Let's get rid of you. Wait, I clicked on the wrong guy. That would have been unfortunate. A Night Goblin Shaman, yeah. Chanton, not worth our time. Let us just delete you, Night Goblin Shaman. You're a toxic one, right? Poisoner, yeah, toxic venom. I guess we'll just straight up swap units then. So we'll do this. You here. All of these units, you here. Minus, you guys don't keep the squig herds because we're going to use fanatics instead. You can... Don't bother with the pump... Well, you know what? Keep the pump wagons for now. We need something to make this army a little bit stronger until it's ready to go, essentially. So, for now, we'll keep it like that. Alright, like so. Alright, there's a method to my madness, rest assured. Oh, actually, that was incorrect. We don't want you to keep the Black Orcs either. They've got a place to be. And frankly, so does this shaman. And yeah, the rest of that looks okay. So you are the poisoner. You're where you're supposed to be. You can now move here and join this army. There we go. Now you have 2 goblin big bosses, and what you're waiting for is a night goblin. Oh, we can't get them here. You need a night goblin big boss. Like you. Poisoner. Yeah, that'll work. You can go down here and then join this army. We'll stop on by and kill these beastmen just so that they're gone. Were they fighting, incidentally? They're still fighting those guys. They're probably still around, but I don't want them here anymore. Since we can't ally with them, and it looks like we indeed cannot, there's no purpose to them.
All right.
You are going to keep moving this way. I guess you can move up here. Well, alright, fine. Move up here like this.
I suppose I might help.
Gouger. I want you to do... Okay, you guys have a couple of things that you want to do. You are going to ferry to the other army, the Squigs, and the Black Orc Big Boss. Yes, and the Black Orcs, of course. And the Shaman, I guess. Not so sure about that unbreakable trait, but, you know, we'll make use of it. Alright, so you're going to go to Gouger. Oh, you don't have any... Oh, stop. No. The misclicks, the terrible misclicks. Alright, so let's see what we want to deliver here. You... lose the Goblin Big Boss. Lose all of the Goblin Wolf Riders. Take the Squigs. Do we want to deliver the Troll down there, or could we use it up here? Maybe we can use it up here for now. The Night Goblins stay here, they're going to go to that army. We'll take the Orc Boys. We'll lose the Gobos. We'll take the Orc Arrow Boys as well. And I think that's about it. Those units can all be delivered to the armies in the south. Goblins, Night Goblins, Orc Boar Chariots. I mean, we could put Orc... I really don't like them. Not like Pump Wagons. Let's do this for now. Like so. Alright, now... all of this will be delivered to the south. The Wolf Raiders will be delivered to the north, to the Wolf Army. And, oh, the Black Orc Big Boss. I forgot about you. Black Orc Big Boss in here. There we go. Now, that army will have 2 Black Orcs led by 2 Black Orc Big Bosses and then a giant pile of Orc Boys with Berserker on them, plus this green Shaman. And, oh, actually, they could use the Troll. You know what? Give them the Troll as well, then. I don't dislike the idea. I don't need to have a crazy amount of trolls, but it'll help keep the Berserk boys, you know, doing good work. You need to sail out, but be careful of black buckthorn, so sail away, sir. And go deliver the goods. You, Gouger, will deliver some stuff to Bartorg and then some stuff to you. I think we're going to delete the 2 units of Orc Boar Chariots. We'll probably get them back in another army later, but for now, you have a troll as well. I'll put it somewhere. For now, these guys are costing us 400 gold per turn, and frankly, that's a lot of money that could be better spent elsewhere. And we also have 4 pump wagons here, which will be working nicely. All right, Grom's good. Ornery is supposed to join... Oh, I went a little bit further than necessary. And then this Goblin Big Boss is a Poisoner. Do we need a Poisoner Goblin Big Boss? That I'm not so sure about. In the Night Goblin's regular army, you would actually work okayly, but it would really depend on the other types of units that we'd get there. You know what? Let's put you in this army right now. Well, actually, you know what? Stay with this army for now. I'll think about it. And there's just so many different army compositions that I keep wondering where better should we send our units that we don't have a lot of capacity of. Specifically the various kinds of gobbo bosses. Anyway, you go down there as well, sir, with your big stick. Anybody else need to move? Alright, that's you. Scout, go keep finding Grimgor, as one does. I don't see no Grimgor yet. Huh, where are you going? Fighting the Skaven? Keep doing that. Warg, you are the new Night Goblin Big Boss with Wiggler. Yes, you're fine, and you're going where you're supposed to be going to join these guys, and that's about it. Keep the Goblin Wolf Chariot, keep the Trolls, keep the various Gobbos, because we're using them for various means, or various purposes, and there we go. I believe we are good. A little bit of a dearth of battles in this particular turn, which is a little bit concerning. Fortress, start collecting income. Yes, it's only 225, but we need every little bit that we can get right now. And you as well. You are going to build the Raiden stashes. Basically, anything that's cheap and will give us a decent bit of cash. Alright, get rid of the Troll Cave, I guess. We need to replace it with money. Aldium, I think we can't have this building here, and Boar Pens, get rid of it as well. We need to generate cash. Hopefully there isn't a full Belagar stack right here, because that would be not so great. You can hold on to the Black Orc Barracks, however, because that works nicely with the Black Orc Forge. Alright. The Horde, we can afford it. Alright, do it, and then get rid of this, and then get rid of, I guess, the Shaman's Hovel as well. You could upgrade the Boss's Shack, but right now I think it's a little bit too expensive, and the money's more important. Can't afford it. You, money. You... money. You... 1.4k for the second level. Do what you gotta do. Gotta remember that those things aren't just, you know, immediate money via the... no, we can't afford anymore. It's also the post-battle loot. The more we have, the more every battle is worth. End turn. Alright, ally begins outpost construction. That is... fine. Maybe they're in for the long haul. Who knows? Getting closer to positive now. Alright, I guess... oh, you can't even jump up here. We got, what, 7 more turns of the WAAAGH? I mean, if we besiege a full territory, maybe we should still maintain it. Alright, fine, go this way. Go this way into Belagar's territory, and then you can follow. Oh, actually, you don't have a wand. You can't really move much further anyway, so that didn't really do much. And there we go. Well, you've got your opportunity to declare war upon us and attack us while we're in march stance there, Belagar. Let's see if you're willing to take the opportunity. Now, do we have any factions discovered? No, I was hoping that we would have gotten sight of Mr. Skarsnik at this point, but oh well. Scout, out this way. Got it all out. Go find us a Grimgor. You better not be dead. That'll be real unfortunate. Alright, Blorg & Co. I guess we're going all the way to Myrmidons. I mean, I suppose we could go to Verdanos and then jump back to Myrmidons. That's the nice thing about Underway stance. Although, if we go this way, we can raid while we go. Whereas, yeah, it's probably the better thing to do considering our money situation, and just hope that nobody arrives at Cassos. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, there we go, 883, it's a pretty big change.
Alright then, I'll do it. What does Ogginect to you want? I suppose I might help.
And there we go, alright. Had to concentrate on that because it took so much effort. As dragging one thing, and eventually we'll stop moving these guys around together, but for now they're earning good XP, they're raiding, they will split off into many armies once we can afford many armies. Oh, I also do have the Forestbane quest battle. I'll probably do that soon. Yeah, you can go out here and you can raid. We'll see if these guys show up and whether they do or they don't. Oh, you need a big boss as well. Actually, you need 2 big bosses. I don't think we have capacity, though. And where can we build them, just out of curiosity? Goblin big boss, please? Anywhere? Somewhere? Nope, we're at 7 out of 5, and we need a Bex. No, we need a Skinna and a Wiggler, and until we get them... Well, you're just gonna have to deal with it, sir. It would be nice to start leveling them, but if we can't, we can't. Luggandaloony, you're acting as our recruiter lord, so right now you're sitting pretty. Grom, you, I guess, will probably attack Hordebane Forest. Can you move into enemy territory yet, or no? Looks like you can't. Alright, fine. Go to the edge of this territory as far as you can go. You are going to join the Night Gobs. Like so. Alright, there we got a Night Goblin Shaman, 2 Goblin Big Bosses. We were just looking for a Night Goblin Big Boss. Oh, I should have done that the other way. Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. You go up here. And we actually are probably going to need you to get a healer. I assume that neither the Night Goblin Big Bosses... Nope, you have increased mobility. And to the army, please.
I'll show you how it's done.
And then what do you have? Night Goblin Shaman. You have Hidden Paths, Laboratory, Whispers of Mork, Scouting. Okay, so unfortunately, no additional healing, which explains why these guys have barely any replenishment going. But it is what it is. Alright, you can't reach us, so keep on going. Spite Backbiter, go deliver those squiggies. And the Black Orcs and the regular Orcs. You... I guess you're just gonna go this way. You can trade these two Night Gobs and then trade this one unit. Alright. You know what? Maybe we should just deliver the... I know it's a poisoner. Yeah, but it's gonna take so long to get over there. Just leave it alone. Never mind. Nobody listened to me. Ignore me. Oh, you have a Night Goblin Squig Hopper already. Well, isn't that lovely? That'll come in handy. Alright, and Durbok. I don't remember who you are. Oh, right, you're the shaman to join these guys. That's good. And to Stinky Legbiter, you are going to provide some nice healing to this army. At least these gobs will be able to regenerate, unlike the others. Alrighty, and then Warg, you are going this way as well. You are a Night Goblin Big Boss to deliver the buffs to these guys. You have Skinna, so you should be Wiggler. Yes, alright, I did plan that out between the episodes, though. I'm not just randomly sending units into places, if that's what it seems like. Only semi-randomly. Anyway, you guys may as well get some more upgrades, some more money upgrades, much as we can afford. Do the cheap ones first, so the Horde, yeah, it's cheaper than the other stuff. Ooh, Somjek, you could technically get both of these, or you could get both of these and then one of the towers. We're currently using this as our spider... Yeah, it's probably a good place for a spider location because of the beast layers. Probably should build the boar building here instead of the captives pit as well, but anyway. And let's upgrade the horde here. I'm gonna quickly run out of money at this rate, but it's more cash in every province, even if it ain't a lot. And aha, Crow's Edge, yes. Easy. I really wish that they'd never made the sticky symbols. And I have it dialed out to minimum, and I still find it kind of irritating. But what can you do? Raiden stashes for you, and... Oh. We might be out of money. Let's build the pile of shiny stuff in Blood River Valley, but then let's quick save. Not quick save. Let's see. Aha! Clan Ferric. Hello. They're actually willing to go for defensive alliance. I don't know whether we need to right now. I'm kind of not aligning directly with any of these Skaven. We'll probably get some of defensive alliances going eventually. Fester and Bog Creepers will ignore for now. Broken Nose still wants to confederate, but we'll continue ignoring it. And that's about it. Oh, Bear Legion wants peace. I guess they're not having such a great time against whoever they were fighting. Alrighty, that was Blood River Valley. We got a little bit more money, so we can probably spend at least a teensy bit more. Okay, not on you, though. You're too expensive. Alright, let's build this one. Alright, good enough. Skip, 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 and low funds. Not that low. Really? Maybe we... Well, no, this is supposed to be a military province. I guess we'll have to cancel this. I don't trust the low funds. I don't know if it exactly means that we're going to start going bankrupt next turn, but I don't trust it enough to find out. So end turn. Alright, Waffles, Broken Nose, Constructor. What do we have here? Tactic removed from Glugzag. Unfortunate for Glugzag. And Waldemar von Gerden is going to defend Lakoras. Good luck. Glugzag, we still got 6 turns of Wa as well, and this is certainly worth fighting. Ooh, those Cairn Wraiths, rather. They're going to be a major issue for this army. We'll see whether we can actually take them on. Well, we still have the Wa, or at least what remains of it. We've been kind of treating it poorly, or treating it very well, depending on how you look at it. This is orcs, after all. Anyway, Blorg, keep moving this way. I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that these guys might be able to re-up their army here before we move in. But anyway, we'll see. Soon, Squig Army, soon. We're getting there. Alrighty, how close are we to Grimgor? Still probably a couple of turns away. Unless he's already taken some territory here. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like all of Agrildren is... Huh. I do notice that Pillars of Grugni is level 1, probably meaning that it got wrecked by something. Belagar, ooh, still there, Belagar. Well, let's see how... Oh, come on, Gorbad, man. You gotta be kidding me. I wonder, does the guy without the Wa... The guy without the Wa can reach you? It's a nice Wa. I'm not gonna pretend it's not a nice Wa. But I think at this point it's kind of a crutch. No more Wa. Goodbye. Alright, yeah, that'll at least allow us to reach him, because it's starting to get ridiculous. Alrighty, you are gonna grab the power of Dewad, the super ironic power of Dewad, and I would still like to see Gorbad's boys. I just want to double check or triple check if it works, and if it doesn't, then we'll never use it again. Alright, Gorbad's boys. Actually, for now, you're still using a decent number of these guys. So, we do see it on the non... Yeah, okay, so we see it on the non-biggins, but we don't see it on the biggins, meaning we will never use it again. After this, can replace it with something better. You are at war with Clan Moors, Redhorn Tribe, and Red Fangs. You're not at war with Scarsnake. Why does that concern me? He better not be dead. We'll join the war against Clan Angren for 3,000 gold. Why, thank you, Red Fangs. I appreciate that. Just double checking. Nah, Red Fangs not ready for Confederation defensive alliances with various orc factions, and Clan Fester really wants to be friends, but for now we'll hold off. Go here. I'm excited to fight Belagar. And you're going to move into reinforce in a second. Sanzwa, of course, and Belagar. You shouldn't have stayed in Valais Sorrow. Let's level you up, get your riders, and let's get Steve. Onslaught, maybe? Or, you know what, we should probably get Magical Reserves. He is not maxed out and frankly is nowhere near it, but, oh, actually. Forbidden Rod would be much better on these guys. Rather than on Steve. You can have the Forbidden Rod because you're going to regenerate your HP anyway, whereas Steve, comparatively, can carry the Book of Assure. There we go. And I guess we can give you some obsidian somethings. Obsidian Amulet, there you go. Also, Gorbad, how's your itemization? Talisman of Preservation, Ogre Blade, haven't found anything better as yet, so I guess you're just fine as you are. You're going to move on in. We don't need to level yet, just keep on leeching. It's easier to leech without a Wa in tow as well. You can have Root Marcher, however, and Blade Master for when you fight on occasion. This gives us no additional battle buffs. Charge bonus and leadership, why not? At least for the fight. And here we go, let's fight Belagar, see how this goes for us.
enough yet, boys? No? Want some more fighting? Then go get more! Whoa!
Alrighty, here we go. This is somewhat concerning. We've got dwarfs holding a choke point, and we have no artillery really to punish them for. This is kind of the ideal situation for dwarfs. The only saving grace that we have here is that it's not iron breakers or well, they do have a unit of hammerers, but their melee infantry is primarily dwarf warriors and miners, which we should be able to hold. They also have a lot of range units here, and this is going to certainly be a tough choke point to take. I also like this formation that the AI put its units in, or at least to some degree. What it really shouldn't be doing is keeping all of its range units close together like this, but it does look neat if nothing else. That said, looking neat or not, we are going to punish the AI for taking this formation. Anyway, with 2 gazes of Mork from good old Steve, the unit of grudge throwers that the enemy had here is obliterated, and the enemy will not be able to fire its artillery at us, at least. Gorbad is moving into position to take up the sort of hill, as we should eventually be able to annoy the enemy enough to move towards them now that we have an artillery piece and they do not. As I said, we will punish the enemy for blobbing up its range units like this. A foot of Gork will come down upon them. It's not going to get a single kill, unfortunately, and I believe that was an overcast variant as well. But the enemy's spell resistance being 45, their armor being heavy at 90 means that it's just the damage isn't there. If we had like a Dwellers Below or something, maybe, but not like that. But that's alright though, at least they were damaged and shed about 30% of their HP, even if they didn't lose any kills. Looks like the enemy will resort to magic, sending a fireball at us, using presumably a Ruby Ring of Ruin. I think they've shaven their ancestors already, not that we care about it. Well, Gorbad might. He might be cognizant of what that actually means, unlike the rest of the orcs here. Anyway, the battle is joined. We have annoyed the enemy to moving towards us, and now that they're down sort of in the depression in between the two sort of starting positions on this battlefield, we will start hosing them down or pincushioning them with our pile of tactical boys, and our quarrels will hopefully outdo theirs. Of course, we can't really expect our very limited melee line to hold here, so we've sent in all of our boar boys downhill as well. They're going to join their mass to the infantry and are looking to hold the enemy back. There's 2 reasons for this. 1, just because we don't have the numbers in terms of our melee infantry. 2, because the more enemy blobs up, the easier it will be for our bleed-causing Ruglut's armored orcs, and just generally speaking our tactical boys, to dish out damage. And actually, there are 3 reasons. C, it's the more enemy blobs up, the easier we can hit a big old blob with a pile of spells. Now, it looks like the enemy has decided to move all of its range units into the melee, interestingly enough. We started focusing them down with our range, and it looks like the AI doesn't want that. Usually, it only behaves in this manner when you charge its range units with melee, and then it tries to close the distance with its own melee troops to, get them to protect it. Nonetheless. I thought I saw a spell about to come down, this big old blob, but apparently it did not. Or maybe it did. Might have been a Spirit Leech. Now we'd be seeing the bony hand of Spirit Leeching. Ah, there we go. Gork hovers over the battlefield and will stomp down on this big old blob. Or possibly Mork. Well, let's see how that damage looks. Alright, this should send at least a few of the enemy flying. That is another overcast variant, and hopefully it'll get some kills this time. That didn't send nearly as many of them flying as I thought. It did leave a big old, well, actually a relatively small hole in the enemy line, but the damage is certainly there. There we go. All of these units start shattering. The balance of power rapidly shifts to about 80% in our favor. We've got our reinforcing Night Goblin War Boss fighting one of the enemy Thanes. I believe Gorbad is going after either the other Thane or the Runesmith, somebody in there. I'm gonna get a brain burster and an headbutt down on the enemy blob as well. Belegar's also still in the fight, but Belegar is definitely one of those lords that you're better off ignoring and killing off his army instead. He's really, really tanky. 144 armor, directional shielding, insane amounts of defense, and just ignore him. Comparatively, the Thanes and the Ghost Pals are generally fairly fragile due to the fact that they have limited HP. And as long as you have things like Spirit Leech and magical damage, you should be able to take him out with a decent ease. Like so. Anyway, ignoring Belegar, I'm gonna begin to give chase to all of those running quarrelers. Lovely to see the boar boys chase him down. But it feels like they're not moving as fast as they should be. They're at, what, 77 speed? This doesn't feel like 77 speed to me. I do wonder if boar boys have an animation limitation like the Marauder Ice Wolf chariots, was it? Where you could only increase their speed to a certain degree and they never move faster than that. It's a distinct possibility. I'm gonna maybe set these guys up beside a Wolf Rider unit or something like that and just see how fast they move by comparison. Alright, I think there was a hero there, but there is... oh no, it's a few hammers. Anyway, with that, the battle's ours. We're going to chase down a few of the units. Not that we need to, just because we can. Alright, there we go. I admittedly was a little bit worried when we got to that choke point, but fortunately the AI wasn't able to do all that much and got pretty much obliterated with a couple of those big old feet of Gork. 76,000 damage and 312 kills on Steve, who's just generally doing pretty good. Otherwise, we got Daka Enthusiast with 12,000 damage and, ooh, close... 13,000 damage on Purple Boys. Of course, as usual, the Ruglad's Armored Dorks do well, and as for the Boars, it's the Barbarians, which certainly live up to their name in terms of dishing out damage and taking beards. Lovely. Alrighty, we got 6.2k for our trouble. We'll occupy the place. And buffs for subterranean intercepts. Not the most useful trait, I will admit. Even for us, even in the mountains. Anyway, potion of strength for you. I'm kind of mad on potions of strength. Usually we can make a better item out of them. You guys are not going to raid here, however. And then I guess we're just going to jump. Well, that's a question. Do we jump straight to Grim Peak, or do we potentially leave it to the forest gobs? They could probably win the fight. The problem is that they also have to take Hordebane Forest, and... well, we'll see how damaged they are after it, because they're not healing right now because they don't have a River Troll Hag. Man, we're gonna need a lot more River Troll Hag capacity as well. You gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, you little guys, the Goblin Big Bosses are going to save all of their points. They need to get to Biggest Teeth and Shroomsen, so you're all holding points. You, however, Snagla, will be... getting Unbreakable for Spiders and Spider Riders. Let's see. Passive ability Opportunistic Murderer for Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Snipe for Forest Goblin Spider... ooh, that should be nice. I'm gonna say start with Snipe. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but power these guys up until you're ready to go full Spider. Otherwise, I guess we might as well just go on in and hit Hordebane Forest. It's going to be a little fight, but we'll probably still fight it. Yeah, the medium casualties. I mean, as yet unbuffed, hardly surprising. And just to double check, we will probably remove these 3 Forest Cubs. Man, 5 feels like few, though. You're going to get replaced by the... well... you have 1 Arachnarok and maybe 2 Spider Flingers, and then you're going to get replaced by the Bolt Thrower, something along those lines. I don't want to go too heavy on the Arachnaroks because there will be a Spider-centric army later. Anyway, go. Man, these darn dwarves keep lucking out into these choke point battles. Ideal for them, ain't it? Well, hopefully we can deal. Fortunately, it's a relatively small army. Unfortunately, our own army is still low in the name in the manner of their buffs and their veterancy and whatnot, so they're going to take a long time to kill even a single dwarven unit. We gotta be careful. On the bright side, though, Spider Gob has given the Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, it's a mouthful, the snipe ability, meaning they're in stock, they're in snipe, we can shoot the enemy, they can't shoot us back. Granted, the enemy's heavily armored and shielded, so the damage from the Spider Riders will be very minimal. But slowly but surely, they'll be able to annoy the enemy. Man, that was like 3 volleys. We've used about 20% of our ammunition from 4 units to dish out about 10% of the damage to a unit of quarrelers. Well, they're going to start on that. Now, since this is a choke point, and since we've gotten fully fully stalking army, we could do something a little fun here with our deployment. So, something fun you could do with this is that you can force the AI to essentially take position where you want it to take position, because it can't see most of our army here and it has to go through the choke point. So it's going to give chase and it's going to move towards the only units that it can see. Which means we can force it out of position and then get ready to surround it, as in the AI, surround their army, whatever. From every side, and of course keep annoying the enemy with the old poison. It's too bad that these guys have a regular poison rather than... That's actually quite interesting. So they have the lethal poison on their melee attacks, just like all the other Forest Gobs, with regular poison on their range. Which is kind of interesting because it is an additional, Actually, on the one hand, the regular poison does the work of slowing the enemy down more, but it doesn't have that damage over time aspect, so annoying the enemy army from a distance with poison, and ideally with lethal toxin, would have enabled us to do a lot more damage than with regular poison. But it is what it is, not a big deal. Anyway, now that we forced the enemy army to move forward, we're getting ready to move ourselves. All of our units have surrounded the enemy and are getting ready to hit them from every side. And I do mean every side, even if it doesn't look like it yet. We're simply going to get our melee spiders. Ooh, nice shot from that grudge thrower, though. Melee spiders to hit the enemy in the back, while our regular Forest Gobs smack into their lines. Those guys look like they were in a shield wall. They already got the tech up and running. I feel like the AI really cheats with regards to its techs as well. There's some really powerful techs in the tech tree, so I've always wondered to what degree the AI can cheat in that regard. And some factions have some absolutely insane capstone techs, so yeah. Not that it's a big deal, mind you. Frankly, the AI needs all the help that it can get, since it's not particularly strategic in the way that it plays on the actual battlefield. Anyway, there we go. As I said, completely surrounding the enemy from every side after staying hidden on the flanks and basically around the enemy. The mount's power rapidly shifts to about 95% in our favor. I got so many spiders, it looks like the enemy units basically can't move. The spiders, I guess, are getting each other's way a little bit, but that's fine. With that, the enemy army shatters, and the battle is ours. We did get 1 unit of spider riders to go kill off the enemy artillery to make sure that it didn't punish us for blobbing up in the way that it did. A lovely little fight for the Forest Gobs. Alright, there we go. Not too bad at all. 54 units lost. The other side would have probably killed like 2/3 of our army with that, and would have probably just rushed our forces in rather than doing some fun stuff with the surrounding of the enemies and all that. Anyway, you can I mean, I guess we can collect the income. We'll start with the raid and stashes either way, and we'll go for the horde here, or pile of shiny stuff, and start collecting and making some money. I'm willing to bet that, judging by what the others all did there, that the Grimpeak army will sally out, and ooh, that's actually going to be tough. A lot more range units, lots of thunderers, and longbeards and stuff. You're gonna have your work cut out for you. Keep buffing those gobs; they're gonna need it. Especially since we don't have cheap armor piercing via the nasty skulkers, which we might otherwise with some other Gobbo armies. I suppose what we could do is join these guys together, get rid of one of the forest gobs, and then put you into well, Death Creepers. See, they're gonna split off into another army, but I mean, it's just a significant reduction in melee, but you know what? Get rid of this one as well. We'll get the Death Creepers and the Snagless Death Thrower in here. Next turn, though. So if we don't waste the money this turn, because there are no other armies nearby to take advantage of that anyway. Alright, let's also build some cheap money-making buildings. Let us... I mean, we can technically afford you. As to whether we should right now, I'm not so sure. Shamans, we're out of capacity anyway. We do want to keep an eye on... Hello. XP for boys, biggins, and black orcs, you say? Maybe that would have been better for these guys anyway. I might get one of the black orc big bosses, just that they're super expensive right now, so I'm just gonna hold off on that. So expensive. And now, still nothing interesting on the Night Goblin bosses in terms of anything, any traits that they've got. I might do a second Berserk war boss to use spears. Oh, you give Berserk to Savage Orcs as well. Huh. I wonder if that's better than a Savage Orc war boss. I just want to double check. To what degree do you buff Savage Orcs? Oh, okay, never mind. That's pretty solid already. And, you've got physical resistance, including for Savage Orc Boars. You've got physical resistance for Orc Infantry, including Savage Orc Infantry, makes sense. And Trolls, Giants, Arachnorks, Colossal Squigs, and Rogue Idols, all of which would go nicely with the various Savage Orcs. Alright, Savage Orc was great shaman. You're pretty good. Don't worry, we'll get you some Savage Orcs eventually. And, ooh, we've actually got a decent amount of scrap around now. Let's get to you guys some scrap upgrades, shall we? I believe we went for the bed of bows first because, you know, more range. Not going to be able to afford this, however. Let's get the boar boys. Oh, wait, we'd have to evolve them to biggins first, and they're not ready for that yet, are they? And they gotta be rank 5. Alright, well, you gotta fight your way to actually get there, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. You guys are good as you are. We will leave some of these Night Goblin fanatics as they are as well, so I say we can upgrade at least... Well, let's do 4 of them. Some of them have to become squig hoppers and such, so... yeah. Although I guess, you know what, hold off on it, because we could upgrade some of these guys to fanatics and then some of these guys to squig hoppers. That might quicken what we're doing. Also, did you lose your main army? Maybe you did. Red Fangs. Not yet ready for a confed, but close to it. Alright, but we're doing stuff in order. For once. For once I'm doing things in order. You get a little mini-wah there. Good for you. Glugzag, you are going to fight in a second. I just want to see what else we have in terms of this turn. Ogak, you're just waiting for troop transfers. Fight Backbiter. You're going to land at the Citadel of Myrmidia. Sit there for a turn. That way Mr. Black Buckthorn can't attack you. Can you get... Ooh, you can get one troll up and running. Yeah, you know what? We should do that. I know it's going to cost some money. Hey, go here. You can recruit the one troll. Not the giants, because they take 2 turns. This one you can essentially immediately deliver. Actually, if we were to delete this troll... You know what? It's not going to go into either of these armies. We're going to delete this troll here. I know it's rank 3 and stuff, but this way we don't need to rely on capacity, and then we can essentially swap out by giving another troll to these guys. Just the basic troll because they're cheaper. And then that way the orc boys and trolls army will essentially be immediately ready, and we can use the nasty skulkers with them for now, whereas the squig army can split off, since these guys keep traveling together and it's kind of starting to annoy me. Let's allow them to do their own thing, make their own, make their own legend and whatnot. Bartorg Backbiter. I guess we're just going to attack the Isle of Zul, eh? I mean, you guys should probably just be able to auto-resolve it. Fairly well, Beastman. We will ask... Oh, no, we will ask nobody. Just attack. Declare war. Die. Can't leave him here. Such a shame that they couldn't tell. And, oh, really? Perfect. Oh, right. The game doesn't like the... doesn't like the poor little... Night GOBS. Let's, however, see if that changes things by putting you closer. That was still close victory, medium casualties. Alright, if these guys, our main army is dead, we might as well fight the Beastmen, because we may never get another chance, so go. Alrighty, here we go. You can't complain about the variety in this particular episode, or campaign, I suppose. But in this episode in particular, at this point in this episode, we fought, what? Khorne, and then Cathay, Dwarfs, Empire, and now Beastmen. Lots of different foes, just the way I likes it. Anyway, Beastmen are blobbing up out there. Gotta be careful, as the Gores, at the very least, vastly outstats our Night Goblins, at least in terms of their melee capabilities. But that's only at the start. Again, we will have the techs, veterancy, red line buffs, etc., scrap upgrades to eventually take our all of our gobos to another level. For now, though, they're going to have to work their way with their tiny little daggers and face off against the big old Gores and the diminutive Ungors. Still bigger than a gobo, mind you, but still small. Alright, there we go. The units begin facing off against each other. Tactically, there's probably not much to say in this particular battle, just a big old line of Night Goblin fanatics rushing the enemy, Gores and Ungors, waiting to activate those spinning loons and applying a little bit of that old damage from the range fire overhead. I'm wondering which of the regiments of renown we should put into which Night Goblin army. I mean, Skarsnik should probably have... I forget what they're called, the Warlords something? Oh, there's also the 8 Peaks Loonies. No, that's already 2. I put the Rusty Errors in this army, I guess. Though I was also going to make a Night Goblin sniping range army, which would be very different from this. Vanguard deploy and do as much damage with those range Night GOBS as possible. There was a tactic that gave them snipe and unspottable after all. I guess we'll have to figure it out. I don't think more Night GOBS is going to be too bad of a thing. Anyway, the Gores and Ungors working together, but the bounce power is about 90% in our favor. Alrighty, the pump wagons are being really helpful there, and every time one of those spinning loons activates, the enemy takes a massive amount of damage as they work their way through the enemy blob. There we go. If only we could get a Cathahan war drum somehow, it would allow us to get our Night Goblins a little bit tankier and thus staying in the melee a little bit longer. Frankly, a much easier way to do it is just to put some stone trolls in amongst them, such that the stone trolls don't allow the enemy to do too much damage. Anyway, more spinning loons coming out. There we go. 3 separate sets moving through the enemy army, and that's got to be a lot of damage. It does look like several of the enemy Gores and Ungors will break. Centigores are in the middle of the fight, but now we've started focusing them down with a range fire. And it's a very simple, good old-fashioned brawl. We're not bothering with our reinforcements. Frankly, we don't need them. This is the time for the daggers of the Night Goblins to do the work. Alrighty, and how are we doing? The bounce power is at about 95% in our favor now. Just a couple more enemy units to cut our way through and the battle will be ours. We're gonna at least get the Wolf Riders from the reinforcements in, mostly because we haven't had a chance to play with them. There we go, very nice charge through those pump wagons, right through and perpendicular to an enemy deployment. Not parallel to the enemy, well, you know what I mean. Parallel to the enemy line of fire, I guess, or line rather, and no fire. No fire at all, because these guys had... Did they even have any range units in this particular army? I'm not sure that they did. Granted, we barely have any of our own. Not that it mattered, as this forced the enemy to blob up around the Night Goblin fanatics and get ripped apart by the spinning loons. Anyway, I believe that the enemy army will shatter and the battle will be ours. Probably not going to be seeing beastmen around for a fairly long time, so we might as well have enjoyed this little fight while we had it. Oh, it's a pretty cool herdstone down there. I like the big old fire under it. And it looks like it's like part of the rock or something. Pretty neat. Alright, the Gores gave the GOBS something of a decent fight there, so I'm glad that we actually fought this. Good job to the little guys. First of the Night Goblin Fanatics, 14k, 12k, 14k, 21k. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Getting those spinning loons off and spinning their way through piles of Gores and Ungores looks like it generates a fair bit of damage. Snotling Scavengers for, again... These are supposed to go on lords, not heroes, and now you have a swindler. You don't need that either. And I take that you got that as well. No swindler for you. No. Whoever you are, no. I'll deal with those between the episodes. I'll just give them to lords instead. I think they don't work. I'm not 100% sure. Hello, Fungus Farms. Whoa, 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 whoa. Is that the one that I think it is? Oh no. We don't have it? Where's Fungus Farms? Minus 25% cooldown for spinning loons and plus 3 number of uses for spinning loons. We need river trolls. Oh, or a hag. A hag would serve this purpose. Okay, it looks like we need to get river troll hag capacity ASAP. Also, did this faction get destroyed or no? Where are they? Beastmen. I don't see them. Must have been destroyed. But then I didn't see the world event. Maybe I just missed it. Ah, yeah, faction destroyed. Alright, well, sorry, Beastman. You just had the bad luck to have been near us, was started near us. Oh well, too bad for them. Don't bother collecting the income here, at least for now, but that's obviously going to change as we go. Let's see who's next in the order. I guess it's just WAAAGH, who doesn't need to move, Durbok, who needs to continue on his way, just like this guy does. Get out to sea. And then, they're gonna hit this and then they're gonna jump over. I guess we could leave one behind and then have them jump the hero over as well. And of course we have the siege going on here still. And I guess since that's happening, we're gonna fight it. Alrighty, Glugzag. I do enjoy your army, so let's put some points into Artisanales. Huh. Plus 12 armor, missile strength, and range. Yeah, well, that... so it's basically only plus 12 armor for the pump wagons. It's a little bit of a silly one. I feel like they should either double dip into another tree. They would get a lot more mileage out of riders than Artisanales, because the missile strength and the range... I mean, they do have, they do have missile strength, I guess. But that's not how they do their damage. Alright, well, whatever. Do we need any of the other spells? How's your mana look? Oh, actually, your mana's solid. Maybe we could get another point in Vindictive Glare. Gork will fix it. I don't think it's super necessary in this particular situation. Let's start moving through the spells and then try to get Curse of the Bad Moon, at least. I don't really care for Night Shroud, but Curse of the Bad Moon, since it doesn't affect friendly units, even if it is stupidly expensive, still quite nice. You should have Soul Blight, because it's fantastic. And let's get one more point in Life Leeching, and then let's get Spirit Leech, but then we'll grab Replenish Troops after you presumably level up after the fight itself. You Don't need a potion of toughness. You can keep the spell shield. Where's the other forbidden rod? WAAAGH. I don't know who WAAAGH is. You can have the forbidden rod. Every river troll hag should have a forbidden rod, and then probably one of these obsidian amulets. You can, I guess, have glittering scales instead of the spell shield then. Oh, you know, we could put the spell shields on the hags as well, because they'll be hurting themselves. I think that's a decent use of them. Glittering scales for you. I probably won't keep that on you, but we shall see. Anyway, spell shield before we fight. And we should have more River Troll Hags. There should be another here. We can just give you the spell shield. And then the other one that has the Forbidden Rod should be in Gorbad's army. So you are going to get a spell shield. Beautiful. Alright, the rest of that we can ignore until we get more items. You're leveled up now and thus can fight Atlakoros. Pyrrhic victory casualties high. The terror is going to be a big concern here. Let's see how we do.
Talks through me!
Alrighty, here we go, adding even more variety to this episode's battles. Now we fought, what? Khorne, Cathay, Dwarfs, Empire, Beastmen, and Vampire counts. And at the end, probably the last battle of the episode, though, says we've run long, but hell, I'm gonna enjoy it as best we can. A magic tower here is at about 3,000 HP. It's going to... is this a tier 4 tower? Ugh. No, it's tier 3 tower. It's still firing those explosive shots, though, by the looks of it. Probably don't want those to hit. Looks like the first hit did about 10 to 15% damage to this one unit. Another hit, fairly wide explosive area. Unfortunately for the tower, I believe that was its last shot, as we do have a fairly significant amount of artillery and bring it down reasonably quickly. And, ooh, I like the color scheme on these guys. Alright, every time I see Kemmler's color scheme, I always remark that I like it. And just because that it works nicely with the balefire glow of the, well, zombies and, well, basically the eyes and stuff of all of the vampire counts. Anyway, it looks like the enemy zombies and Graveguard are milling around. Gonna take a fair few stones to the face as we try to force them to move towards us, but generally speaking, it's very rare for the AI to bother even attempting to sally out of a minor settlement. I have occasionally seen it happen, but again, it is very rare. I also saw that the rock lobbers have an upgrade that increases the radius of their splash damage by 20%. I think that'll be the first scrap upgrade that we do for them. And just power them up a little bit more. Especially since this army is going to keep them. I don't know if we're going to put the... I want to say Hammer of Gork or something, the Regiment of Renown of the rock lobbers in this particular army, but we might. 2 regular ones, 2 Doom Divers, and then the Regiment of Renown one, especially assuming that we don't put any other Regiments of Renown in this army. I'll think about it. Either way, the enemy, at least the zombies, the Crypt Ghouls, and the Graveguard, which were all standing around in one place, are having a pretty bad time. Otherwise, those are the first 3 enemy units that have been destroyed. In the meantime, our units of Goblin Bolt Throws have been attempting to fire at the bats, but have done basically nothing. Hardly surprising, though, at this point, I think. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We've seen the rocky bombardment for a while now, and might as well let the bombardment continue until the enemy is ready to fight, or until we run out of ammunition and are forced to move into the enemy's settlement. And the enemy is still dodging all those shots, so the damage isn't going to be anything crazy. And at the same time, we were waiting for our WAAAGH to arrive on the field anyway, so I might as well use as much of that ammunition as possible until we're ready to send them in and take those hits for us. Another unit of Graveguard is standing out there. Huh. I wonder why in this particular battle the AI decided not to disengage or to sort of book it back into the enemy settlement. Because it most definitely does that sometimes, rather than face off against artillery and stuff. Why not here? I'm just curious. Well, either way, the scariest units that the enemy has on field have arrived, trying to chase down our River Troll Hag, who backs up behind these sacrificial WAAAGH units. We're going to hold the Cornates back while we do a little bit of damage to them. It looks like some bats have touched down as well. We're going to hit those Cornates with a Spirit Leech, as we don't have an easy way of dishing out decent damage to them with the WAAAGH, as it would take a while. More bats are touching down, but not to worry, we were waiting for bat, and the pump wagons were kept back rather than charging forth, specifically until the bats landed. I figured, well, the bats have a decent likelihood to try to go after our artillery, and our pump wagons are going to need to protect them, especially since there are a lot of bats available to the enemy. That said, it looks like the enemy realized that we were protecting the artillery and decided to land upon the fragile units of GOBS out front. A, we don't care about the WAAAGH units, and B, our pump wagons are now ready to move in and back them up. How's that unit of Cornates looking? Pretty low melee attack due to the itchy nuisance upon them. Yeah. Unfortunately, Itchy Nuisance removes base weapon damage and almost all the damage of the Cornates' armor piercing. So that aspect of it is at least a little bit wasted, but at the end of the day, the significant drop in attack is, well, pretty significant still. Anyway, it looks like the Cornates have melted away at last. The bounce power has shifted to about, let's say, 70% in our favor. Still a bunch of Graveguard and such running around. And we're just going to lay down that, well, maybe not so withering fire from our artillery, but it's what we got. Love those barrow blades. And just generally the armor of the Graveguard, at least until they get overrun by the pump wagons. And it looks like these two units of Graveguard will be torn to shreds by the pump wagons yet again. Alrighty, and the pump wagons look like or the snotlings look like they're having quite a bit of fun. Anyway, bounce power is shifted further in our favor to about 80%. The enemy Lord and Vampire and a few of the enemy units are still hanging back, but, well, for how long? Another unit of Graveguard is moving to, I guess, block us from getting too deep into the enemy settlement. Not so sure it's going to work out. And hey, we're actually going to get a Troll Vomit out. Probably not going to do too much. Frankly, a fairly ineffective ability, but on the other hand, something you should expect something like a Hydra Breath or a Throg's Vomit. I feel like it would be a better ability if its range wasn't so dang short, but it's a super short range and a tiny amount of damage, so that most of the time I don't even really bother with it. I think maybe if it had some kind of contact effect on it, like if it had some kind of slow application for like 20 seconds after it hit or something. I mean, having a Troll Vomit on you has got to be pretty unpleasant, right? Especially with the crazy troll digestive juices and stuff. If it doesn't directly melt your skin or whatever. Which it's not doing here because the damage is small, but it could at least have some kind of contact effect. Anyway, it looks like we're pretty much out of ammunition, at the very least on the rock lobbers. A little bit left, a few bolts left to fire away from our bolt throwers, but frankly we don't really care about that, and we can by and large ignore them. Time for the Graveguard to face off against our Orc boys and our Gobos from the WAAAGH, and we have even moved some of the non-WAAAGH units of GOBS in to reinforce and help out as well. Might as well get them some XP, a little bit of action, rather than just winning the battle without them. Which we very well could. The WAAAGH units are sufficient to act as an anvil while our pump wagons and delete most of the enemy here. And it looks like the enemy Lord has arrived in the center of the fray. The enemy Vampire has as well. I really got to get some of the biggins up and running. You know, I didn't notice if there were any tactics that specifically focus on biggins. There's at least a couple that focus on, well, there's at least one that focuses on regular orc boys. I think there's a couple that focus on orc infantry. But I'm not so sure that there's anything specific for biggins, and in fact, since the regular orc boys have a tactic or a plan, it almost feels like the biggins are left out. Though obviously we're still going to have a big and heavy army with some other stuff. I'm not sure what. Maybe that might be a decent place to put some orc chariots or boar chariots. I'm not a huge fan of them, but you know, you gotta have all of the units and all the variety. And with the Cornates providing Gorbis chariots, we could certainly bump up their effectiveness. Give us a better reason to use them rather than the spiky rollers. The spiky rollers would be very useful in pretty much any army that isn't the biggins or the black orcs. Well, I mean, they'd be useful in any army, but basically, because of the armor sundering, it really helps the light on armor piercing damage units like all the gobos and the regular orc boys. So it's certainly something to keep in mind in terms of the army compositions. Anyway, the bounce power is at about 90% in our favor now. The units that have moved down to stop us from getting into the enemy settlement have been pretty much destroyed at this point. The enemy vampire has been killed off by a combination of getting whacked with that big old sack of fish and then spirit leeched as well. The enemy lord is somewhere in there. Kind of hard to spot. There he is. And yeah, pump wagons are surprisingly decent at surrounding and killing off individual lords, especially if they're mounted. We saw it happen with Kemmler in an early episode, where the pump wagons simply surrounded him, preventing him from escape. And ooh, looks like there's still a little bit of fight in the enemy. 2 units of Grave Guard out here. We've moved some of the non-Y units of GOBS to try to fight them. And they have completely surrounded this 1 unit of Grave Guard. There is a second unit of Grave Guard just behind this one, and that one we're distracting with a single unit of GOBS while we tear this one apart. Slowly, but clearly surely, as the unit is melting, this one is still being held back, and it's done some damage to these gobos. But the gobos ain't doing too bad. 12 kills, 3,200 damage versus 22 kills and 2,500. Hardly surprising considering the disparity. Alright, just gotta work on the last few of the enemy units before they melt away. I do believe the Lord has died, and therefore the entire enemy army is just about done for. And yeah, the Spirit Leech is why you want those River Troll Hags. I mean, it's one of the reasons. The other obvious reason is that they provide us replenishment, which we clearly need in a bunch of armies, and you just gotta get more capacities from them. But the Spirit Leech is very, very useful. Soul Blight is really nice as well. Anyway, with that, the last of the enemy units fade away, and this Vampire Count territory is... I guess ours. I guess we're going to capture it this time. We sacked it 1 or 2, I don't remember, times previously, but I think considering we started to move... Okay, let's just take a look here. Alrighty, there we go. Even though our numbers were nearly equal in terms of sheer number of units, we were able to use our WAAAGH to, well, sacrifice a still relatively limited number of units, less than 10%, and obliterate the enemy army without too much problem. I am curious how much damage these guys did. 13k and 12k. So between, let's see, 3 times, a little bit more than 3 times less than the Grudge Throwers at the height. So, yeah. That is with them having used up all of their ammunition through the course of the battle, but hey, at least they did some damage. Though their damage's gold value isn't as horrible. 665, 643, so about half as much as the Goblin Rockloppers. Maybe we will eventually be able to make them, you know, strong enough to be somewhat useful. Otherwise, the pump wagons did pretty good, I'd wager. 12,000, 13,000, hovering at roughly around the same sort of damage, and our Goblin, while admittedly didn't do as much this time around, simply because it was busy.
Anything you say?
No, Swindler. I'm busy guarding the rest of our units. Now, I decided to actually take Lycoris this time. I mean, we are going to start moving down here. A and B, I think we can use it as a sort of stepping off point, or a, essentially, sit here. And should we peace out with these guys, which is a distinct possibility, or we could keep raiding and sacking them for a while, I will think about it. Frankly, this might be a decent time to confederate the Broken Nose, but I'll give it some thought. we could just fix our money, and I'm willing to bet that that would screw it up all over again. Anyway, I think with that, folks, we're very much out of time, and I'm definitely going to call the episode here. The next time, we will do our best to quickly wipe out Belagar, who's frankly nearly destroyed already, and then get ready to move towards the Skarsnik Slayer. I don't know how much that's worth to Skarsnik. Move towards Skarsnik and move towards Grimgor to hopefully find them, see what they have to see and say about being confederated. Might do the quest battle as well. I don't know if it's about time yet in the sense that our army isn't complete, but we could. It would be an influx of money. It is a little bit weird, as somebody pointed out, that this doesn't seem to have the reward, you know, the public order and casualty punishment reward that SFO usually gives quests. Maybe it's because it's a new quest that doesn't have the trait given to it, but oh well. Either way, more orky action to come, more goblin action to come, as the goblin armies are now operational, and we gotta do the wolf army, we gotta do squig army, we are still working on these 3 or 4 armies. It's all slowly but surely coming together. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.